And we are live. Hello, everyone. It is Misha Green, DC editor. I am really excited, humbled, fangirling, if you will, to be speaking with legendary actress, creator, Daphne Maxwell Reid. I have so much to talk to her about today. There's obviously, we've seen a lot fun and exciting happening in her life over the pandemic and obviously before. But there's been so much going on in the world in general. So we have a lot to talk about today. But you guys know the drill. Before we get started, we are going to share our live and then get to going. And Mrs. Reid, first of all, just how are you doing today?
Excellent. It's a good day, an absolutely good day. I appreciate each and every one of them that I get to wake up to and feel good about.
Well, you know, it's so important that you said that because obviously we know that this time has been quite challenging. We are almost a year into the pandemic here in the United States. And you know, obviously we've seen a lot of death and people losing jobs, et cetera, during this time. How are you doing? The arts world has been affected in a major way as well.
Yes, the arts world has been affected, has everybody. Everybody has to pay attention to this and modify their lives to cope with it. And in the modification, wearing masks, not a big deal. Come on, put a mask on. Stay distant. That's the hard part. Not being able to hug is one of the things that I miss the most. But I have been used to working by myself in my studio, creating. So being alone all day is nothing new to me. I am blessed that I have a husband that I can fraternize with after work every day. And I feel very grateful that we have not had any illness. We haven't had any family illnesses. We've been vigilant and very blessed.
Oh, that's such wonderful news to hear, and really inspiring that you're still finding the time to create during these times, and that your husband, who of course we all know and love, Tim Reid, gives you that opportunity to do so, and gives you that flexibility to do so. So, you know, I'm not sure all of our people know how creative you are and how much you truly do. I learned, and I think this was like in maybe 2016 or 2017, you were emceeing an event and you talked about the clothes that you design and these gorgeous pieces. And is that called Daphne Styles? Tell us a little bit about Daphne Styles and the amazing pieces that you create.
Well, I was blessed at birth with a lot of different gifts, and I've kind of spent my life trying to manifest these gifts to honor them because they were given to me by my God. I mean, this is nothing that I, own myself. This is their gifts. And I learned to sew very early in my life. My mother was a seamstress, so was most of the people around me. And I have been making my own clothes since I was 9 years old. I mean, in junior high school, the teacher says, okay, we're going to have home ec. This semester, we're going to make an apron. I say, I'm going, excuse me, I don't need an apron, but I'll be making a wool lined suit with a plaid skirt cut on the bias. And that'll be my project for this semester. So I came from that kind of upbringing. I made all my own clothes because I didn't see anything I liked in the store, nor could I afford it. So I made them myself. And in doing that, I have established a certain way that I dress to suit my body. And I also have become a fabriholic. All of you who don't know what that is, I love fabrics. I love the way they feel. I like the way they drape. I like fabrics. So I kind of discover different fabrics and see what I can do with them. And about 10 or 15 years ago, I discovered Chinese silk brocade. And it was such a jewel tone color and such a wonderful hand to it. It made up a beautiful little topper or coat, just a little something you throw on, a schmata, if you will, that you just throw on over your jeans or over a gown. But they're like wearing statement jewelry. So I was making them for myself. And every time I'd walk out in the street in one of them, I'd be stopped and asked, "Where did you get that?" And I told them I made it. And they said, "Would you make me one?" And I would say no. And then a couple of years ago, my husband, Tim Reed, has an institute where he trains filmmakers, and he has a fundraiser every year. And his fundraiser is a fashion show. And he says, "Okay, for my first fashion show, I want you to make some of those jackets that you keep getting compliments on." So I made a line of about a dozen of them, all different colors. And we showed them on the runway, and they bought them off the runway. And I established my "okay, I'll make it for you" custom business called Daphne Styles. And I make that jacket and a variation of it. And then the following year, I made swing coats in vibrant colors of linen. And they also sold well. So I custom make them and sell them on my website. And it doesn't, I mean, I don't have to be with you to get this done. We can get you measured and show you fabrics. All this technology is very helpful in doing that during this COVID crisis.
That is so amazing to hear your trajectory, at starting as a child sewing, and now, you know, being able to not only share your craft, your God-given talent with the world, but also sort of educate in the process. I mean, I noticed that the style seemed to have an influence, a Chinese influence, but to now hear the breakdown of it is so intriguing. I gotta ask this follow up. Did you ever find moments where in your work as an actor that you sometimes get into it with a costume designer or a stylist because you know what you're doing? Kind of like that home ec teacher trying to get you to make an apron.
No, they understand where I'm coming from because a lot of times they ask me to bring my wardrobe. So I've been wearing on television shows things that I've made. Somebody showed me a video that I did for the Whispers, and it was back in the late 70s. And I'm on camera doing this video, and I'm going, "Oh, I made that suit. It was tan." You know? So I have lots of times where what I'm wearing in a show is something that I've made. I get the appreciation from the wardrobe people, and sometimes I let them just do their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you got? And if they've got great taste, then I'll say, "Okay, I'll wear that."
Awesome, 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 awesome. Well, again, we've seen so much inspiring things come out of you this year. I can't not mention the awesome Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion that we saw in late 2020, and had sort of had hints of being in the works for quite some time. But Fresh Prince was such and is, I shouldn't say was, is such a show that I think set the tone of modern Black families and what they can look like, and how one can come from a family that, not necessarily has a whole lot of struggle, but there are a lot of issues inside of that. A lot of the narratives we were used to before that time, everyone was on the struggle bus, right? And everyone, we weren't sure if you were going to get a meal. That didn't happen in the Fresh Prince. However, there were really trying things that helped us understand Black culture in such a deeper and I think more beautiful way. And so, first of all, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
being part of that. I'm sure for the past 2 decades, you've heard people congratulate that. But um, how is it now in 2021? First of all, still people talking about it, still people getting excited about it, and then tell us what it was like, having those conversations and being in that space with some of those people that you created magic with so long ago at this point.
Well, we've always been in touch with all of the members of that cast because we actually feel like a real family.
Mm.
Um, we've done weddings and births of babies and sadly a funeral, but we are very close. And we've always been very close. The joy of last year was that we got to all be together in the same place at the same time, which was a very rare occurrence for getting everybody together.
And
And
even
it
rare
was
for 2020, I suppose.
in 2020, even to add that to it.
Right.
But Will produced this, his production company produced this, and it was such an amazing adventure, starting with an email. Would you like to participate? And then, okay, this is a top secret. And when you get here to Los Angeles, you'll all be staying at separate hotels. We don't want you to have a reunion before we have the reunion on set. So it was all, it was fairy tale. It was just a delight to be a part of. And then getting on set and seeing everybody, it was joyous. It was a family reunion. And then the addition of Janet onto the set, finally getting that controversy straightened out between she and Will, and seeing the depth of their honesty and their forgiveness was very rewarding. And then finally, to see the edited program, we wept when we saw it. It was so well done. And we were so moved by how they just portrayed the whole situation. It was just so beautifully done. It was like what we needed because of COVID at the end of 2020. For the holidays, a big hug from the Banks family. And it was a warm, wonderful way to finish out the year.
It was such a wonderful, warm way for all of us as well.
Yeah.
And one obviously the conversation between Janet and Will was really important, and we needed to hear it. The world needed to watch that happen. But I really appreciated you guys honoring James Avery as well. Again, you don't think about until you lose these icons how much they are a part of your life and world.
Mhm.
And so thankful that you even said today the fact that you guys are our actual family, not just on television. And so it was really important for us, I think, to also mourn him with you all in
Mhm.
that way, just because we didn't get to do that. And so again, thank you so much for being a part of that and being able to bring that to the world. We needed that big time, big time. Uh, and so I think in there, it's a great transition to talk about your book, which I think is a beautiful take on family and growing up, and uh, the importance of Black culture and Black tradition. And your book is called Grace, Soul, and Motherhood. First of all, I love
And
the title. Love,
excellent.
such a great title. Tell us
When
about
you
it.
sit down, when you sit down to a table, you generally say grace.
Mm,
And it's a grace to be able to sit down at a table with people that you love. And the soul is my culture. The soul is what was imbued in me growing up and what I want to honor with the food that I cook. And the mother wit is something that you either have or you don't have. You can try to get some, but mostly it's common sense. And I take you through, in this cookbook, I take you through my growing up and the thought that my mother cooked food with such love and preparation. And when she served it to us around a table, it was like having communion.
Mm.
I consider sitting around a table with people that you love anytime a communion. And I'm hoping that I can encourage more people to sit down, slow down, make something by hand, and share it with people that you love.
We so
And
need that now. I mean, we were forced to be in the house and cook, and that can be daunting for some people.
I
What?
take you from the beginning. I tell you what to have in the kitchen, what kind of utensils, what kind of pots and pans, what to keep in your pantry, what to keep in your refrigerator. And I take you through, this is what chopped means. This is what sear means. I give you the definitions. I give you the measurements. I teach you basically how to basically cook.
Mm.
But I'm not a chef. I'm just a cook. I cook because I love to cook and I love to feed my family and friends. So I had to decide what this cookbook was going to be since I'm not a professional cook. So I made it a mini memoir. And through that, I'm able to tell you the stories of where I got the recipes from, what these people meant to me. And it's a collection of recipes from 40, 50 years of collecting recipes. And I was able to put it on my computer, set it up on my computer, send a file to the printer and say, print this. I want the cover out of this. I want the pages out of this. I learned how to publish. So this is my fifth book that I've published. The other four are about photography, but this is my first cookbook.
Oh my goodness. Again, for the people out there who did not know, this woman is so incredibly creative. How do you do it all? So
You get up in the morning and you say, today I'm going to do this, and you have your day and you do it.
so inspiring, so incredibly inspiring. And as a Black woman and creative, how important is it for you to make that decision to get up and go and do it and be a self-publisher and share your own anecdotes? I mean, it must seem like there's a heavier weight and a little bit more responsibility because you are a Black woman.
I think you put that on yourself. My purpose in life is to share.
Mm.
So my I have the pleasure of taking a journey. I didn't start off knowing how to do all this stuff. They were journeys of learning that I took. And I learned so much stuff, learned what to do in the different programs on my computer. I'm one of these old people who really know how to use a computer. I've been using a computer since the early 80s, and I've been designing and doing my photography, doing my production of all sorts of things on my computer. So all of my books are self-published. All of my books are self-set up. I design them. I decide what size they are, what pictures go into them, what the font is that I use. I get to make all those decisions, and that journey is what makes my life rich.
Mm.
Learning, learning, learning. Every day, I want to learn something else. And I take these journeys into photography. I take a journey into design. I take a journey into publishing. Wonderful ways to enhance my life and just bring me joy.
You're bringing me so much joy listening in. I am so inspired, so incredibly
Good.
inspired. So I gotta ask, are the photos in Grace Soul and Mother Wit also your photographs?
A lot of them are my father's photographs because a lot of them are me growing up in New York City. and
Right.
family pictures he used to take.
Wow. So
He
even
was my
photography,
inspiration. So
photography has been a part of your journey.
I have had
How
a
would you
camera and a sewing machine since I was 9 years old, and I've never been without either one of them.
Wow. Wow. What do you tell those people? You know, I hear this often in the arts world about being a jack of all trades, but a master of none. You are a master of a lot. How do you fight back and combat that stigma? I hear you say with learning every day and having that desire to learn. What else do you do?
Well, I have a challenge. See, I'm not a master of any of these things. There's always more I need to learn about them. My big challenge is the marketing of those things. And I get help from my interns, I get help from friends, I get help from students I work with. Now, how would you market this? How would you send this out? What is Instagram? What does this do? I get a lot of help from a lot of different people, and that's part of my learning journey. So I'm not a master yet of anything but how to get through a day. But I just enjoy the processes of learning. I don't intend to become a master of any of these things. I want to be good at it. I want them to be shareable. And I want these things to move somebody in some way. And it is my shoulders that they can stand on, because I'm standing on a lot of shoulders for all the different things that I have done.
Wow. You know, I knew I was going to be inspired and feel good after this because I love you so much and I'm such a fan. But I did not know that Daphne Maxwell Reid was going to come up in here and preach to us today. Thank you. Oh, I'm feeling so
Good.
incredibly pumped up. I want to let the people know, just because we're winding down, if you have questions or comments, feel free to go ahead and drop it in the comment section. I've already seen a few, and I definitely want to try to get to you. So I'm going to try to ask my last final selfish
Yeah.
question, which it has to do with the Asala luncheon that is coming up, or the Asala events coming up that you are part of, in particular, this coming weekend, the Food Waste panel, which is going to talk about the importance of food in the Black community. But we know that conversation can go so many different ways. Food insecurity is major, not just during the pandemic, but has been a challenge in our communities. But also the sharing of food and the traditions surrounding it that make us Black people is also so important. Obviously, we talked about the book, but why did you feel that it was important to join this panel? And what can some of the people look forward to in sort of the in-depth conversations that you all are going to get into this weekend?
Well, we've got a great panel lined up. One of my favorite chefs is going to be on there, Carla Hall. And we're going to talk about the community of food, where it came from, what we should be proud of, how food affects our health, how we can take what we love as traditional food and modify it so it's better for our health, but it still tastes great. We're going to talk about relationship between families and food and lots of other things.
Wow. Again, I am super excited because of the group. Like you said, it's Chef Carla Hall. You're on the panel, but I'm also really excited because I think that this is a conversation that needs to be had. It's one of those things where we kind of hear in passing, but not necessarily something that we as a Black community gets the opportunity to have on a regular basis. But I also have to ask, because of this exciting conversation, Do you think that there might be more cookbooks coming up for you?
I think I have a lot of other things in the queue ahead of that.
I just had to ask. I didn't know if there was anything being teased with.
Let's get this one out the door.
Good job.
We'll see what the need is.
Okay, I'll take that. All right, so let me get to the people because you guys are being awesome and engaging, and I really appreciate that. And I am sorry if I don't see everything, but I'm going to do my best to acknowledge what I do see and can get to. Vicky Moore, Erwin Avery says, a great way to kick off Black History Month. I think so too, Vicky. Thanks for tuning in. Nisi Baylor, who's a great entrepreneur here in the DC area, says, love Afro News and this editor, and I love you too. And she says, gotta get this book. Paige Kimberly says, love Carla Hall and love this. Matthew says, wow, and truly inspiring, amazing. I don't see the comment anymore, but I would be remiss in not saying it because I saw it pop up before, and that was from our publisher. Here it is. Francis Tony Draper, who says, hi from Biddy's daughter. Good to see and hear you. We appreciate you.
Daddy.
So I wanted to get that out. And then I saw another, Daphne, I did my master's paper on every time we gather at the table being kind of communion.
Nice.
So
it wasn't an original thought of mine.
Well, it's interesting because they say that nothing is truly original, right? But I think, again, it's so important that we have people like you who are continuing to make these thoughts known and a part of our culture and in the forefront. So thank you for that. Again, I'm sorry to those if I'm not seeing your comments. It's snowing still here in DC, so maybe my internet is being a bit weird, and I apologize for that. But I do want to ask you before we wrap, because it maybe not necessarily the next cookbook aside, I'm just excited by the anecdotes that go along with it, and of course the great recipes. But what else is next for you? What else can we look forward for you and for your career in 2021?
I have been still doing television. I did a wonderful movie called The Business of Christmas that aired on BET Plus.
Yes.
And I believe we're doing a sequel to that this spring. So that's kind of on the burner there. I'm also finally writing a whole memoir, not a mini memoir, to take you through the journey that was my life.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited about that. And I'm seeing, you said, and kudos to you for making note that you create some of these things with a great team and other collaborators who you can look to for help and advice. But I'm seeing you very active on Instagram and your fun videos. By chance, will we get any Cooking with Daphne videos in 2021? Selfishly, this young actress and journalist might need a
maybe. Send your requests to me. I'll see what I can pop out.
Guys, and that works for Mrs. Reid because that's what happened with her amazing fashion line, Daphne Styles.
Yeah, just ask. You never know when I'll take that journey.
Oh, this is so inspiring to know that someone who's so legendary and so successful is still on a journey. Is still creating every day. Again, I feel so incredibly blessed that I had this conversation, and I know that our people do as well. I'm seeing a lot of people tuning in. Oh, okay. I'm now starting to get more comments. Jewel says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Jewel. Patrick McCoy says, great to see Miss Daphne on. So thankful for the many contributions she and her husband, Tim Reid, brought to my hometown of Petersburg, Virginia with the New Orleans
Ah,
Studios. Oh, Patrick has a personal anecdote.
okay.
Thank well, I really appreciate you again. Anything that you want to add, anywhere we should be following to keep in touch with all things Daphne Maxwell Reid before we wrap?
Just learn how to spell my name and go to www.daphnemaxwellreid.com. You will see all the different things that I'm doing, including the collection of masks that I make. Fashion masks, but they have a HEPA filter in them that you can take out and wash your mask and put the HEPA filter back in, and it will keep you safe when you're about.
Wow. Thank you so much. I, again, cannot thank you enough for spending these past 30 minutes with Afro Live. But again, your many
Thanks
contributions.
for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, as always, guys, tune in to Afro Live and all things Afro News, the Black Media Authority. Stay tuned, wear a mask, wash your hands, and be safe.